Hi, everyone. I'm Stephanie Crawford, the Executive Director for IDEA. We are thrilled to have two different organizations joining together today with us. We have DPI and LTC represented with Todd and Sarah, and I am not going to waste time introducing them. I'm going to let them do it so they can get started. You are here today for computer science education in Illinois, understanding the legislation, mandates, endorsement, resources, and more. That's a mouthful, but it's so much good stuff going on. So we're going to make our time count. I will just tell you, we'll be monitoring the chat. So if you have questions, please feel free to put it in the chat for us. And then at the end, with about 10 minutes remaining, we'll let you have time for questions. That's when I will also put in the PDH form for you to claim our PDH for today. We will stop the recording at that point because we know that sometimes you feel more comfortable asking the question if you know it's not recorded. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and throw it over. I'll let Sarah introduce herself and we'll get started.
All right, thank you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because we even have intro slides. I'm also, while I'm getting that situated, going to throw the link to these slides in the chat. There's going to be a lot of clickable things that you are hopefully going to find useful, and you can access those afterwards as well. All right. So Stephanie said, we are going to talk all things computer science education in Illinois. There is a lot happening right now, which is why we said and more. Things keep changing, things keep excitingly keep adding. So today we're just going to spend some time kind of going over what is happening at the legislation at the legislative level, but then also lots of great resources to support all of these different mandates and requirements that are coming through the pipeline. So again, I'll kind of you'll see that bit.ly throughout the slides. Feel free to grab those because there are lots of links that'll help you. So to get started, my name is Sarah Phelps. I am the Computer Science and STEM Program Manager for the LTC. If you're not familiar with LTC Illinois, we are an Illinois State Board of Education program that supports basically all things technology, education, K-12 in the state of Illinois. I've been an educator for 15 years. Previously, before joining the LTC, I was a classroom teacher. I taught fourth grade for 8 years, STEM and computer science for the next 6. And then I joined the LTC originally as an instructional technology coach and have been doing the STEM program manager role for almost a year now. I also serve as a Code.org facilitator, and I am the regional partner for Code.org as part of my responsibilities with the LTC. All right, Todd.
Hi, everyone. Good evening or afternoon. Thanks for joining us. My name is Todd McFarland. I am the Assistant Director of Teacher Training at Discovery Partners Institute. And that's something that many people may not know about, but we are part of the University of Illinois system. And our main goal is to get more people in Illinois into technology. And so we focus on essentially K through adult learner and we have different groups to focus on each one of those levels. So K through 5, we have middle school, we have high school, we have community college, we have graduate, undergraduate programs, and also adults. So we kind of service the long front. But I serve as the Assistant Director of Teacher Training, focusing on how to get computer science teachers endorsed, qualified, and have the skills they need to teach and be effective at teaching computer science in Illinois. I've been a Chicago public school teacher for 11 years. Go back one, Sarah.
Sorry, yes, hold on. When I'm sharing, I've got to find my little thing. There you go. Whoops, back.
Yep, no worries. I just want to make sure you knew. So I've been a Chicago public school teacher for about 11 years. Most of that was teaching, just over half of it was teaching history. But then I made the switch into teaching computer science. And I started with exploring computer science and then kind of wanted to go the route after that. And then I joined an endorsement program to get my computer science endorsement. And I'll talk about that program later on today, which for those may be interested in it. I also have been an esports coach at several different schools. And I also was a co-founder for a nonprofit that focused on high school esports in Illinois. I ran that for 5 years. And last but not least, I'm a lifelong recreational computer scientist. I love playing with coding, I love playing with tech and IT and kind of learning new systems. So that's just a little bit about me.
Awesome. So you know a little bit about us. We'd love to have you, if you are willing or able, to throw maybe your name, your school district, and your title in the chat box, if that's possible, just to give us kind of an idea of who's in the room. As we talk today, we're going to have a lot of information that's kind of applicable to different groups of people. So it will just help us tailor a little bit more of the information if we have a particular group present today. But obviously, we're going to talk about all the different resources and things that we are sharing kind of from all the different lenses, from all the different perspectives. So again, if you have the ability to throw your name, school district, and title in the chat box, we really appreciate you sharing that with us. And again, that bit.ly is down there on the bottom that will help you have access to all of these great resources, lots of informational resources as we go along. And after the fact, if you want to reflect or go back and dig in deeper into the information. So just to start off, I want you to kind of think right now, CS education has absolutely, I feel like, snowballed in the last few years. It kind of felt like it was picking up steam right before COVID, and then took a stall during COVID because we kind of shifted priorities, but we're back talking about it. And there's a lot of momentum right now in CS education, but we know that school districts throughout the state of Illinois are kind of in different places. So you don't have to share this, but I want you to think about, where are you or your school district in your CS education journey? You know, kind of looking at this metaphor here of the mountain. Are you down at the very base? Is this the first time that you are considering adding a course? Is this going to be your first CS course? Maybe you're two. You have some CS programming. Maybe it's an after-school club. Maybe it is a class that you are partnering with a local community college to offer. Are you number three? Like, you're scaling the mountain. You maybe have that introductory computer science class, but you're starting to kind of explore, how can you have more computer science at the elementary level, at the middle school level? How could you add more programming at the high school level? Or are you four? Are you on the top of this mountain and you are peering out at all the possibilities? And now you're looking at not just how to add computer science, but how to really enhance your program with all of the new upcoming technology related to computer science, like AI, machine learning, cybersecurity, all those things. Whether you're at, the very base of the mountain and you're just getting ready to get started, or you're all the way at the top, hopefully today we are going to give you some great resources to continue your journey. And if you're at the top, we really hope that you will, join this community and join this movement and help other teachers who are starting off, because you have a lot of valuable experience to share and bring to support everybody else who is getting started on their CS journey as well. All right, so we're going to talk first about legislation, because that is kind of the catalyst for a lot of the things that you are going to learn about. A lot of the programs, a lot of the initiatives, they all go back to Public Act 101, which was an amendment to the school code. And that link is clickable if you love reading legislation. But basically, there were some key things that Public Act 101 added in relation to computer science and how school districts and what school districts needed to do with it. But also, it put a little bit of work onto ISB as well. So one of the first requirements, one of the most important things that this Public Act required, was for computer science to be defined, because it's not something that is particularly well known outside of the computer science crowd. It's definitely not something that was part of my general education growing up. I grew up in a rural town in Illinois. We did have a computer science class, but it's not something that a definition was real clear. And really, it's something that a lot of times we have a lot of technology jargon that we throw around. We talk about computer science, we talk about computer literacy and digital literacy and media literacy and cybersecurity. And so one of the first and most important things is to define what is computer science. So that way, as we get deeper into the legislation and we talk about the requirements, hopefully it will be clear as to what kinds of information a computer science class would contain. So according to ISB, computer science is the study of computers and algorithms. It is hardware and software design. It is the implementation of computers, and it is their impact on society. So if you are familiar at all with the standards, you're going to see some familiar language there, but it's really important to understand what it is, but then also looking at the other side of this slide, what it is not. it is not the everyday use of computers. So it's not a computer applications class where you're learning about Microsoft Word or Google Docs. It's not keyboarding. So a course that focuses more on that word processing and creation of documents or slides or sheets, that's not computer science. And it's not accessing the internet. Research is not computer science. And so, computer science is something that is probably some new skills for students, but it's also probably some new skills for a lot of educators, because again, it's not part of that foundational information that we received growing up in the most part. I know, again, for myself, it definitely wasn't something that I had any familiarity with until I started teaching technology and computer science classes way, way, way down the road in my career. So is we also had the responsibility, after getting that definition squared away, they also needed to develop or adopt rigorous learning standards in the area of computer science. So these were adopted and went into effect last winter, so 2022. So you may have seen them. There've been some trainings, some webinars about those standards. They are the Illinois Computer Science Standards, but they bear a resemblance to the CSTed national standards. So those standards were created for K-12. If you look at the standards, the Illinois standards, you can see that there are grade bands. And so each grade band has the 6 kind of big areas of computer science. And then it has those individual grade bands have their kind of age appropriate skills within them. For K-12, those standards exist, but there's no mandate for K-8 right now related to computer science. So those standards are there, they can support learning. But as of right now, this legislation does not have or put any requirement on our K-8 classrooms. But Todd is going to talk about the 9-12 mandate.
Yeah, so the big thing that came out with this Public Act 101 was the fact that in the legislation, and something that they were really working towards for a very long time, is that every high school must provide an opportunity for students to take at least one computer science course. Now, that is very wordy, and the idea was that they didn't want to make it a graduation requirement. They didn't want to say it's mandatory everyone takes one, but they wanted to make sure that every school had the capability to offer computer science to their high school students. And there's many different ways that they can do this, but it allows schools to give that options to students. This is kind of the first step before it becomes a graduation requirement. This is, to make sure that this is the landscape that people want to move in. And this took a lot of work to get through the legislation and to get passed. One of the other things to focus on, again, I said it's not a graduation requirement, but students have to be able to be offered a course to take through their 4 years if they choose to take it. But the other nice thing that they did with this Public Act 101 was allow for advanced placement computer science to count as a math credit for graduation. So this did change some of that where computer science was an elective, a career class. Well, now it can count as a math credit for the course. So it's kind of important to know that every school must have some kind of offering for computer science for their students, although it's not mandatory that they take it at this time. And then on the next slide, they talk about who is allowed to teach those courses for high school, and then what courses are actually offered. So definitely, if you're interested in what we should be offering at our school or at our district, these are the 2 most important links. There are, and I'll talk about the certifications in just a few slides, but there are many different ways that teachers are qualified to teach some of these basic computer science courses. So these are the clickable documents that you really want to pay attention to, because you may have someone who can teach certain computer science, although they may not be skilled enough to do that yet. That's where DPI and LTC can kind of help out with getting them the skills they need to do it. They may be actually able to teach those computer science courses in the high school.
All right, so we've just told you a lot of the should do, have to do things. The legislation requires a computer science class at the high school level so that every student has the option of taking that class. And we talked about, you have the assignability and you have the course catalog there to kind of look through. But right now, how are you feeling? Again, you don't have to share, but I want you to think for a second. Considering those computer science requirements and thinking back to where you were on your computer science journey, what does your school district need to be successful with those mandates? Again, depending on where you are in that journey, you may need of different things. If you're down in the valley, you may be, like Todd said, thinking about who can teach a course, right? What course would we teach? Where would we fit this into the master schedule? How many students will take this course? How will we get students familiar with the concept of computer science so that they want to take this course? Again, if you're higher up in that journey up the mountain, maybe you're thinking about, oh, we've already met that basic requirement, but again, how can we go further? What could we do to enhance that journey? Think about right now, what do you need? What do you need to be successful with this mandate, whether you're at level 1 or level 4 or beyond? What do you need? Because hopefully the rest of this presentation is going to help you get to those things that you need. So one of the first things that pretty much always pops into people's minds when they think about new mandates is, how am I going to pay for this, right? Anytime
we need money, Sarah. We need
money. we definitely always. Always. And so we have great news, and this is actually pretty new news. The Illinois legislature has authorized a new computer science grant, and it is funded. It has already been allocated the funds. So SB 2374 would pass both the Senate and the House. So it is, and the governor completely backs it. It's a new competitive grant established by ISB. So this first year, they authorized $3 million for this computer science grant. Eligible entities are ROEs or ISCs, higher ed, lab schools, and school districts. So those are the entities that can apply for that $3 million in funding. And it's very open in how people can use those funds. So there are lots of different ways that you might find use for some CS grant funding. And hopefully, again, no matter where you are in your journey, these will be advantageous to your school district. So you can use those CS funds to expand learning opportunities. So if you don't have a course, this might be the opportunity to find resources. You could spend it on professional development. So if you need to get somebody certified or trained, you can pay for materials and equipment. So if you have seen some awesome hands-on computer science resources like robots or drones or all the other amazing resources out there that help support computer science or bring computer science to life, equipment and resources are there. Or if you still need devices, that also would count. And also the last one's kind of that catch-all: resources to recruit and better serve underrepresented populations. So you know your students and what they might need to get them excited about computer science. And so it's got kind of an open-ended last bullet point there of just anything that's going to start to bring computer science to those students who haven't historically had access. So this is exciting. Again, it just recently passed. I think May 11th was its official day of passing. So this is a big deal. We watch a lot of other states who have successful computer science education programs. And a lot of times, the reason why they're so successful is because they are not unfunded mandates. They are funded. There is money to support those requirements. And we are hopefully following suit in that with this CS grant. It is a grant that will have to be renewed every year, but you are, it did say in the language that you may reapply up to 3 years. So you can, start to really grow and support a CS program, even if you don't have anything today. So the application is not available yet. As soon as it is, I will be shouting it from the rooftops, quite literally. So make sure if you aren't somebody who follows me on Twitter or on an LTC community, maybe get hooked up, even if it's just to wait for those grant funding announcements. But I will make sure everybody knows. I probably will start passing out cards in the grocery stores. But basically, according to the legislation, this is what you can expect to see in that application. Number one, obviously, you're going to have a plan for using those funds. So unfortunately, you can't just say money, please, and not have a plan. So this is a great time, though. It's the grant application is not open yet. You can start to think about all of those things that you might want to spend money on and start to think about what might be beneficial to your students, your school, your program. There is going to be a data component. So you're going to appeal that you have underrepresented students. And we know technology has a very very small representation. So really, we're trying to access all kinds of different students and engage them in computer science. So you're going to use some data to show how you have underrepresented students in CS, which shouldn't be difficult because there isn't a lot of representation in CS. The last two are something that we hopefully are really going to help support this summer. That is a plan for long-term sustainability. So, CS grant funds, you're going to buy some things, but we don't want to just buy them and put them on the shelf. What is your plan long-term? How are you going to be able to take these funds now and really create a program that is sustainable? And then also having a plan for that continuous improvement. So you're thinking down the road. That way, then again, this is not just a mandate that we go through the motions, we do something and we forget it. We actually have a plan so that we can keep supporting this and it can continue to grow and support our students' learning. So again, the application is not open yet, and the legislation did just pass in May. So hopefully though, it'll be available early on in the fiscal year, or at least maybe a little bit more specifics about what that grant will require. But in the meantime, planning is something that you can do ahead of time. And hopefully, again, with some of the resources Todd and I are going to share, we're going to give you some opportunities, because if you're at that valley spot of CS journey, maybe you don't even know what you may need. And hopefully we can hook you up with some resources to help you start identifying those needs and identifying those resources that can support your journey. All right, endorsements.
So the big thing is like, okay, well, who can teach computer science in our school? Who is able to do that? Who's qualified to do that? Who does ISBC should be teaching these courses? And the big thing is I have kind of breakdown of where each group qualifies. For your elementary, your kindergarten through 6th grade, there really is not a credential for computer science. Anyone, just like all of the elementary credentials, you kind of can teach any subject, but there are still standards that remain that you are expected to be able to incorporate into your lessons every day. And the nice thing with technology today is that there's a lot of ways to include computer science principles into science and math and any English even, just to kind of tie, get two birds with one stone kind of idea. And I know lots of times you're doing that to develop this, cross-curricular material and things like that to kind of cover everything. But in elementary school, there's no certification that you need to do to be able to teach computer science. It's kind of more having the background. And I think there's a couple of certificates that you may be able to get. But for the most part, there's no endorsement for teaching on your license that will qualify for you to teach computer science. However, when you get to middle school and above, there are two different types of endorsements that you can get. And it depends on what your initial teaching certification is in. The simpler one is the CTE, simpler but not as well. CTE essentially is your only teaching license. You are able to teach certain courses based on semester hours that you have and then hours of work experience. So if you were in a business, if you're working IT or a developer or some computer science related position, you would apply with ISB to get your endorsement. That's not mostly for what people are here today in this session for, but that is an alternate path to find computer science teachers, is to find people in industry who may want to go and teach and then make sure they have the requirements to qualify for that. The other endorsement is attached to the PEL. So teachers who are endorsed to teach English and math, science, PE, essentially if you have your professional educator license, you can add on endorsements to other subjects. What does that require? Well, it requires 18 semester hours, and these have to be college level hours. And you have to pass the content exam. It's number 205. There's a new one, thankfully. The old one was very outdated. They just finally matriculated out of that one. I think they stopped doing that one last year. They closed it down completely. For a while, you had a choice to take which one, but the old one had really old assembly language and stuff that people don't really use anymore in computer science. But you can be teaching anything. Like I said, I was a history teacher and I wanted to go and get my computer science endorsement. So I joined a program where I would get my semester hours, and I'll talk about it. They'll essentially, the course content we cover allows us to be able to pass that exam. So I am now ISB certified computer science teacher as of December of last year. So I am able to do that now on top of teaching history still in the state. So the program that I wanted to talk to you about is the program that DPI has partnered with UIUC. The whole program is, this is kind of just a brief overview. Each teacher that enrolls will get 20 graduate level hours. So this could bump you over a lane depending on where your current credentials are. It's given over the course of 5 consecutive semesters. You'll do summer, fall, winter, and then summer and fall again, and then you will have the 20 hours that you need according to ISB. All of these courses are online, so you don't have to worry about where's class at, where am I going to be there. The idea is you can be anywhere in the state. So far, we've had 2 cohorts go through, and we've had people all the way from the tip southern of Illinois all the way to the northern suburbs near Wisconsin. So it kind of could be from anywhere. And the nice thing is, because it's online, it allows us to make a bigger network. And the fact that it's a cohort model, you know the same people every 5 semesters, so you get to know them, friends, family. You ask them about their kids. We always ask about their families, how they're doing, because it's this cohort model. You're with the same group for the entire 5 semesters. How is it given? The idea is that this was made for teachers, and the idea is not to overload you. Like, hey, let's do 30 credit hours in 1 semester or 2 semesters. Kind of load you up, get it done and over with. Some people might be looking for that, but many people, especially today's day and age with teachers, don't have the bandwidth to do more than 1, maybe 2 graduate level courses. So their classes are given 1 class per semester over the course of the 5 semesters. During the school year, you meet once a week in the evening, and as you will stay the same day for the entire cohort. So if you start your fall cohort, whatever day you're on, you will be on that day until you get done the next fall. So that way you can kind of plan accordingly, making sure that you don't have practice, or you have someone pick the kids up that day in order for you to be able to make class. And then during summer, because it is an accelerated course, it's over 8 weeks, you do meet 2 times a semester to get the credit requirements. And then the other nice thing is that these courses are made for teachers. Lots of other endorsement programs throw teachers into computer science major courses, and they fail because they're not ready to come back in taking graduate level or even undergraduate level computer science courses. These are meant to build up your skills. So over the course from the 1st semester to the 3rd, you'll do a lot of programming in those courses. And the idea is you will go along that path and be able to complete them, not being thrown into the fire, but by building upon and scaffolding all the way up to the 3rd course. The other nice thing about this program is that it's not based out of the College of Computer Science. It is based out of the College of Education. All these courses are through curriculum and instruction. So when you look at their course codes, they are CI 400 level courses. However, these have all been pre-approved by ISB to count for computer science. So you don't have to worry about, will this credit count? Sometimes past credit can count in your undergraduate. However, these have all been pre-approved. There's no questions. You apply. ISB knows when they see these courses that they will count for your computer science endorsement. These also can lead to a master's degree. These will get you about halfway through a master's degree. So you'll have to take an additional 4 to 5 courses to be able to put a online curriculum instruction master's degree from the College of Education onto this. So if you want, after you finish your computer science endorsement, if you want to go get your master's to then really bump you over a lane or move you really up, this really could be a good chance to do that. And the nice thing about that is, because this computer science initiative is kind of required for most of the schools in the states, that many districts have PD funds available, or continuing learning credits, or CPI does have scholarships available for some teachers, with the goal of teachers only paying 20% of their tuition for their endorsement. So depending on if teachers qualify for the endorsement, they can come in and only pay 20%. The price per semester is about $2,000. It's about $500 per credit hour, $2,000. So teachers would only pay about $400 a semester for graduate level credit hours, and half of them then would get you to a master's degree. So this could be a really good way for teachers to tack on a master's onto their credentials.
All right, so that is definitely an exciting program. If you have the need or the desire to get that endorsement, DPI has partnered with UIUC and have that is one amazing way to get that endorsement. The other resource that we want to share with you today that you maybe hopefully have seen is our inaugural Illinois CSPD week. So this is a week devoted to computer science learning. This is to help hopefully teachers K through 12. So this week is focused on professional learning related to computer science for all students, not just those high school students, but also your early learners, your elementary learners, your middle school learners. This is a new concept for Illinois, but it's actually an event that we are kind of modeling off of other states who have successful professional learning for computer science. And we are partnering with all kinds of awesome organizations, including DPI, LTC, CS for Illinois, and then we are hosting it in Bloomington. So BN STEM, Bloomington Normal STEM Initiative, is also a partner. But beyond those organizing partners, we also are working with some fabulous vendors and resources outside of our own organizations there. Again, this is first annual, so we hope this is a professional development event that will be long running and something that you can come back to each year to be able to continue to grow your repertoire of resources and skills related to computer science. This year's partners who will be presenting, code.org, Microsoft is coming to do a series on the microbits. VEX is coming to talk about robots. Cyber.org will be there talking about cybersecurity and digital citizenship. And then CS for Success is coming for a very special administrator track, which we're going to talk about a little bit more in depth in just a minute. But this is an event not just for educators, but also for your instructional leaders, because while we are all, teachers are going to be looking at new content and new courses, administrators have to be familiar with what it's going to take on the administrative side to support computer science education, from recognizing resources, right? They are a lot of times the one who are managing those PD funds or the funds for new resources. Administrators are going to have to consider how it fits into the master schedule. So we are hopefully engaging a couple of different stakeholders, and in the future, maybe even more, to help make computer science education successful in your schools and in your districts. Again, it is for K through 12 and admin. And here's the best part. Scholarships are available. Both code.org and Google have provided funds to help support teachers' participation. That covers the cost of the professional development. And we still have quite a few scholarships available. So if you are on the fence, or you are now wholly excited about computer science education and you can't wait to learn more this summer, absolutely make sure that you check out the CSPD website that's linked in our resources at the end, because that will get you connected with the links for those scholarships. And so you can apply and you can join us, hopefully at no cost, for that professional development. So let's talk just a little bit more about that administrator track. Hopefully, if you reflect back a few slides when we were talking about that CS grant, one of the requirements for the CS grant is to have a plan, to be able to plan how you're going to use those funds, but also a plan as to how CS is going to be sustainable and grow in your school district. And we are partnering with CS for Success to offer a just 1.5 day admin track. It'll be the last 2 days of CSPD week. And the whole goal of those 2 days is to basically do some of the work of kind of working out what you need to be successful with CS, so that you're going to have your plan already developed. And not just because you want to be able to access those CS funds, because we know that's just a limited amount, one limited amount, but basically having that plan ensures that you can make progress forward in lots of different ways. Your future thinking for future growth of your program. There are lots of other funding opportunities. Actually, the LTC blog that just went out today is all about STEM funding. Having a plan ensures that as soon as one of those opportunities becomes available, you already know how you want to use those funds. And it really just helps streamline that action of finding additional funds to support your programming. So during the admin track at CSPD week, you're going to dive a little bit deeper into those CS requirements. We, kind of gave you the high level quickly today, but she's going to spend a little more time digging into the legislation and what school districts are responsible for. You're going to kind of create that landscape for your district, for your school. What does your school district currently offer? Where do you want to go? Complete a needs assessment, and then you're going to develop a plan. And that plan is what's going to help you kind of think through all of those key components to that ISB grant, so that as soon as it becomes available, you already know what your long-term sustainability plan is and how you're going to try to grow and support CS at your district. So that is an amazing opportunity. It's just 2 days, and hopefully we can really help districts get a head start on that planning for success for CS. All right. That was a lot of information, but again, if you haven't already, that bit.ly is still there. I can even throw it in the chat. But make sure you snag it, because it's going to give you access to all of the legislation language, so you can kind of read it for yourself, and you can see what is required. It's going to give you access to the program that Todd talked about through UIUC. You can kind of better understand or share with somebody. If you have somebody at your school who you think might benefit from that program, you have the link there for that. You have the link to CSPD week, so you can apply and join us this summer to learn more about computer science education K-12. And all the links that I didn't mention, they're all there. It's linked in the slides, on the slide that we talked about it, but it's also linked on this beautiful quick links at the end here for you as well. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I think Stephanie is going to stop recording, and then we will open the floor to questions.
If you are interested in the endorsement program, be sure to not just go to the CSTed link, but also fill out the DPI interest form, because we can help walk you through the process, because it's not entirely intuitive to how to get into the program. So feel free to send that, and I can send the follow-up information for how to do it. So anyone that's interested in your school, share it with them. Click on that DPI interest form link, and then I will get you the material you need, because courses do start in just about 2 weeks. So anyone who is interested in doing it would need to be there fairly soon. So just let us know as soon as possible, and we can get you guys all set up to go. There is still time. There's still positions available for that endorsement program. So fill out that interest form, and we'll make sure everyone gets set up.
Okay, with that, I'm so sorry. With that, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. Like Sarah said, again, you're going to have time to ask any questions. And during that question time, I will put your PDH format.